New to quilting and patchwork and not quite sure where to start? Well, along with your sewing equipment, you're also going to need some cutting equipment. Now, what I would recommend if you're a beginner, first of all, your cutting ruler. So the 6.5 by 24.5 inch is a good size to start with. You're also going to need a rotary cutter. So Easy have got their lovely rotary cutters, and also your cutting mat. So with the cutting mat, just for your first one, I recommend the 18 by 24 inch, and this is quite a good size to have on your work table at home. Now this is how they work. So to cut your fabric, first of all, lay it out on the cutting mat with the selvages together. Now that's your selvages, they're the edges that don't fray, and this is how your fabric normally comes off the bolt. So lay it onto your fabric with the folded edge onto one of your straight edges. And if you're right-handed, you're actually going to trim off the right-hand side of the fabric first of all. If you're left-handed, you'll actually work reverse to how I'm showing. So to square off the edge, you just have to put a straight line of the ruler onto the folded edge. Make sure that's nice and straight. You can also use the lines on your board to connect and cut. And just cut along like that, and you've squared off your edge. Now, if you want to cut strips, what you'll need to do now is you need to transfer the straight edge to the left-hand side. So with this size cutting mat, you can quite simply spin that around, and there hasn't been a lot of movement with the fabric, but just double check that that is straight. And now we're going to cut, say for instance, some 2-inch strips. So to do that, you look at the 2-inch line on your ruler there, and you line that up with the edge of the fabric, and place your hand in the middle so it has even pressure on the ruler, and cut it on. You can cut any size strip up to 6.5 inches. So see, we can just put the ruler on the edge there, so that's your 6.5 inch width, and cut along like that. Always make sure that the folded edge is aligned with one of the lines on your ruler there. Now if you want to cut pieces that are wider than what your ruler is, you just simply mark them. So start by having your fabric straight on the board like that. Always when you put your rotary cutter down, close it up for safety purposes. Now I'm going to cut an 8-inch strip here, so I'm just going to put the 8-inch line on the edge of the fabric, on the straight edge there, and you can just mark that with a fabric marker. And then it's just a matter of connecting the lines with the ruler to cut that. Now, if you need to then cut that piece into squares, it's then just a matter of turn your fabric so that your selvage edge is on the right-hand side if you're right-handed. Make sure that it's always sitting nice and straight on some lines there, and that your lines are straight with the ruler and they're connecting there. And then it's just a matter, once again, you can just spin the cutting mat around so that our straight edge is now on the left side, and we're going to cut some 8-inch squares. So that would just be a matter of measuring and marking with the ruler. Oops. And cutting. So this is called cross cutting. So you would cut your strip first, and then sometimes the pattern will say to then cross cut it into a certain size. So that's how you get started with cutting out for patchwork.